Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I want to talk about probably my favorite way of doing maps, which is boss rushing. So I did few boss rushing strategies in the past few weeks, but generally most of them were boss rushing plus something, or plus like 2 or 3 things. So it wasn't like a pure boss rushing, and this time around I decided to try just a pure normal boss rushing strategy. But the most important thing I wanted to test this time is these sextants. So there are sextants like this one that guarantees Conqueror map drop every time you kill map boss, and it only procs once, so it doesn't matter if map has 3 bosses, you're always gonna drop just one map. And there's also the same one for Shaper and same one for Elder Guardian map. And important thing is you actually can't use all 3 of them. If you are gonna put all 3 of them on your void stones, only one of them is gonna proc. So you have to choose which one to use. So things I wanted to test is actually which one of them is most profitable to do. And also on top of that, is it actually even worth to use them? Because normally if you do boss rushing, you are also gonna drop some guardian maps just randomly without any investment, so maybe it is actually not even worth to use them. And if you are gonna be buying them, this one goes for 1 exalt and both of these ones for 50c on TFT. Obviously price may vary, sometimes you might have to buy these for 1.1, these for like 60, but sometimes maybe you will get a good deal for like 40-45c. So this time around I did 4 tests. 100 maps with Conqueror Sextant, 100 with Shaper, 100 with Elder, and then 100 with no Sextant. And first, let me actually talk about the test without any Sextant, because I already have Atlas tree prepared for that, and the Atlas tree for the Sextant is gonna be a little bit different. So for a normal boss rushing without any Sextants, what I did is actually I was running the Atals, because in Atals, you are gonna also on your way to a boss gonna encounter 1 free essence. So this is not really like a pure boss rushing, but if you are going for no sextant strategy, I do believe it is worth it. I wouldn't add really anything else other than essences, maybe harvest. As you can see here, I also have harvest nodes, and the reason why I have harvest nodes, because there isn't really that much stuff to spend your points on when you are doing boss rushing. The most important things are just getting all of these additional chances to get the Guardian map drops, and then proc for the influence. Everything else is kind of whatever. You can also get this, because when you're gonna kill that 1 free essence, most of the time you're gonna kill enough monsters to proc altar, and that altar can give you some additional loot from boss or chance to duplicate maps. After you take all of these, everything else you just want to spend on the small points for 0.5% chance for the maps to be duplicated. If you take all of them, you have 18% chance. There's also 1 point here, which is also 0.5, but it's 3 points, so I decided to not go for it. So yeah, after that, you can go for literally anything you want, but yeah, again, I decided to go for the essences and harvest with blocking everything else except for harvest, and stream of consciousness for some additional chance for harvest. And mostly the reason why I went for it is because there is a challenge. This one, sacrifice stack of at least 4 divination cards. So I figured I might as well do a lot of harvest and get some additional loot. Get some chances for the challenge, while at the same time some additional loot. And when I was doing harvest, I only went for the crafts that were very like fast to do, like scarab swaps and so on. I actually didn't even sell anything on TFT. I didn't waste any time of that. I didn't sell any divines and so on. But I actually got pretty lucky with all of the reforged keep suffixes. Here you can see all of the crafts that I found during all of these 400 maps sessions, and I got quite a lot of reforged keep suffix or prefix, and all of them go for 1x, so this is pretty much additional 12 exalts, and I didn't include that in the test results. So yeah, this is just some additional profit. So as an example, let me show you just one quick boss rushing map. So I'm going for the Searing Exarch, mostly because of this one. Again, 50% chance to spawn altar at the beginning. So what I'm doing with my build, I am weapon swapping for Brightbeak with Prismatic Eclipse and faster attacks, enhance, and Phantasmal Leak Storm. You can go for normal leaps, and it doesn't really matter. And this way I am moving very fast, and then when I encounter a boss, I just weapon swap back and I kill it. So I'm going through the middle. I'm quickly searching a little bit for the essence and harvest, and it looks like this time I actually didn't find any harvest or the essences. I would just go to the map boss, weapon swap, and kill a boss. Obviously this time I didn't really drop anything. But even if you don't drop anything, you are progressing your Searing Exarch, which is actually still nice, and even just from Searing Exarch you are still gonna make profit. Let me actually see if I have more ATOS. Maybe I'm gonna showcase like 1 or 2 more maps because they are pretty fast, so I don't feel bad about doing a few maps during a video. And also you can alchemy them, but you don't really need to. The loot that we're gonna get doesn't really care about rarity of a map. So again, no harvest, no essence. Maybe here, oh, we found 1 essence. So this one is pretty bad, so I wouldn't even bother corrupting. Next one, this one is also pretty bad, so, and no harvest again. So as you can see, you still are not gonna find that many harvests, but on average I think you should find like 1 in 3. So let's do 1 more, see if maybe this time harvest is gonna be there. I really want to see a harvest so I can just show you how fast it is. It doesn't really take that much time to do it. Okay, so there is 1 harvest. So I would just enter, I would see. Okay, so here I found some sacrifice. I actually would go for it because of the challenge. So let me kill the monsters. We got 2. I'm gonna do them later. Here, if there is only 1 lucky, I would just skip it. 1 enhance, I would skip it. So I would only go for at least 2 of them. Nothing here. And here is actually 1 scarab, and I actually would always go for the scarab because scarabs are pretty nice. So yeah, as you can see, most of the stuff I would just skip. Okay, so now that you saw the version without the sextant, now let me show you with the sextant. So the most important thing you have to remember is that this sextant costs 1 exalt, and it is gonna give you just 4 guaranteed Conqueror maps, and full set you can sell on TFT for 0.8 exalts. So you actually are losing money when you are using this sextant. But there's actually a way to turn it from negative to positive. And most important thing is actually the difference from doing what I did before with the Atlas tree and what I'm doing now. Because now I am going for Wandering Path. This gives 100% increase effect of small Atlas passive skills, which means these small, instead of giving 0.5%, give 1% chance for maps to be duplicated. So in total 37%. And now I'm also going for this one, small one. So 37%. So we are basically increasing the profit from these sextants by 37%. And also on top of that, you still have a random chance to drop Conqueror, Shaper, or Elder map. And yes, you actually can drop 2 Conqueror maps thanks with this sextant. The chance for them is separate. So yeah, but obviously there is also cost of that, and that is that we can't take the notable passives. So all of the notables don't give anything. So because of that, I can no longer take additional extra chance for the free Conqueror, Shaper Elder, and the Synthesis maps. But also I can't go for the free essences, and I guess additional chance for the harvest, which is also a big issue. But trust me, additional profit from duplication is definitely worth it. On top of that, I went for a chance for just a rogue metamorph. I wouldn't kill that many of them, but I guess it is nice. 8% chance per small passive point, because again it is doubled. And here a chance for the rewards to be doubled. Here 2% chance to get a scarab from a map boss times 4, and here map currency times 4. On top of that, here is 150% rarity. Also you can go for these ones, 150%. I went for the additional chance for higher tier of maps, and I actually still went for the harvest. I didn't do that many harvests, especially because now I am also gonna go for the Mesa, so different map. And the reason why I'm going for Mesa is because I'm not gonna go for the essences, and that was the biggest part of the atoll. And Mesa is shorter map. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. You can go for the atolls and Mesa in both of these versions, but that's what I did. I did atolls for no sextants and Mesa with sextant. But a nice thing about harvest is that yes, you're not gonna get like additional harvest plot, additional chance for harvest and stuff, but these small points are also gonna be duplicated. So 6% additional crafting option instead of 3%, and that's times 3, 4, I think it's even more of them. Yeah, here, here, and here. So actually gonna get a lot of additional chance for additional crafts, and also per small passive point, additional 1% for sacred growth. So it actually counters not having Call of the Grove, which gives 4%. So yeah, but we're not gonna get that many of as many of them as we would normally, because we can't take these. As you can see, I still have them, but they don't do anything, because, and the reason why I have them is because there isn't really anything else that I believe is worth to go for. And yeah, I just didn't want to spend some refund points. And also I can't go for the 10% chance to get double progression, so that's unfortunate. But yeah, in terms of strategy, it is pretty much the same. Again, I can use only one of them, so let me use the Conqueror, and let me show you the Mesa, or I guess maybe I can do a few of them also the same as last time. Let me find them. 1, 2. And some of them were rare. I just didn't really bother scouring them. Okay, so here's the first one. And the best things about Mesa is boss is literally at the beginning. So we'll go here. And as you can see, nice chance for the doubled map drops. Let me do the second one. Also, you have to remember that you need to have insane single target if you want to do the strategy, because this says map bosses have 200% more life. And this is also main reason why you don't really want to do these maps rare, because you get mods like monsters have 50% ES from life, or having 50% more life overall, so you don't want to make them as tanky. So here I found rogue metamorphs, so I would do it. Yeah, again, usually I wouldn't find that many of them, but if they are on the way, I would still do it. And that's the same for essences and harvest. If I found them somewhere in between map boss and the entrance, I would do harvest and essence, but again, it didn't really happen that often. Let's do the last one. And it's over. So yeah, this time I only got one duplication, which to be honest is fair, because chance is 37%, so on average 1 in 3 maps you should get a duplicated one. Okay, so now let me show you the results. So here is the results of the Conqueror maps test. And out of all of them, here are all of the Conqueror, here are the results from the Shaper, and here are the results from the Elder test. So as you can see, Shaper and Elder is pretty much the same, because probably here I just got a little bit more lucky with the duplication procs, but Conqueror there's much less. And the reason for that is from Conquerors, not only you're gonna make money from duplications, but also from having favorite Crimson Temple, and I did put them separate, because I chose Crimson Temple as my favorite maps, and that's the second reason why we can make money from this, even though the Conqueror map section is worth 1 exalts, because normally if you sell these sets for 0.8 exalts, which means every map is 0.2 exalt, these maps, Crimson Temple, actually each one of them separately, and it doesn't matter which type of citadel, they sell for half an exalt. So there's quite a lot of profit from selling a Conqueror Crimson Temple, and it only matters for Conqueror, and that's because people are farming Crimson Temples with the some additional Atlas passives for the Conquerors for more pack size and just more loot from Crimson Temples thanks to the Conqueror influence. So yeah, for Conqueror test, here are all of the sets, and as you can see, I did get like few of them a little bit more. I definitely did get the least amount of Hunter one. So if you're gonna be selling them in sets, it is gonna be a bit of an issue. The same thing is for the Elder maps. Here are all of the maps that I didn't get full sets, but here are the full sets. But that's not a thing with Shaper, and that's actually a big bonus when you are doing Shaper ones, because for Shaper you actually can Horizon Orb them. So let me just quickly show it to you. You can take Horizon Orb and you can turn it into whatever you want. So if you are missing Phoenix, you can just put it in here. And I did a Horizon Orb these maps. I think I was missing like this amount of proper maps for these sets. And for Conqueror, unfortunately, we can't do it. So as you can see, the map types change, but the Drog Citadel is still the same. So we can't do it here. But for pricing, I did put all of the maps as if you would be selling sets. Because to be honest, if you're gonna do this strategy for a long time, for example, this time I didn't get as many Hunter, but I did get a lot of Drogs. Who knows, maybe in another set I would get more Drogs, more Hunters and less Drogs. So eventually, if you're gonna do hundreds of these, it should equalize. But even if you are unlucky, even selling them one by one is not that big of a difference. You probably will lose maybe like 5C per map. So yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Also on top of that, here is extra loot. So I got 4 invitations, some other garden maps, some normal maps which you can sell on TFT for like 3C per. And I also got 1 Cortex from Conqueror's test. From Elder test I also got 1 Cortex. And from, this is without the sextant, I also did get 1 Cortex. The only test I didn't get it from is the Shaper, so I got a little bit unlucky here. So yeah, here is again additional loot from the Conqueror test, additional loot from the Shaper, and here is from Elder, and here is the test without sextants. I did actually get a little bit lucky. I got 2 exalts, but I decided to not include it in the test results because obviously that would be not fair. But at the same time, I did get them from map bosses, and I got them from altar procs. And altar procs are thanks to Light of the Dawn. 50% chance that you get the altar when you kill the first pack. And again, my first pack would always be the guaranteed essence. So yeah. Technically from time to time you still should get like some exalts, but you shouldn't really expect to get 2 in 100 maps. And here are all of the garden maps. Obviously not as many of them as in the previous one, but you have to remember these ones are free, so you're not paying anything for them. But I guess we're gonna see how much of a difference that is in a spreadsheet in a second. And here is actually all of the extra loot from all of the tests. I just decided to not include any like a random catalyst from Metamorph, some random unique map drops, some random Scarab drops from the these procs and so on. To be honest, there's not that many of them, and it doesn't really matter in terms of this test. And yeah, also you can see some essences, which actually in the long run could make a difference, but yeah. And in terms of harvest, again, I did do harvest in the meantime, but I decided to not include the harvest in the test results. But I still got a little bit of profit. So I got 1 Conqueror map from the Sacrifice map. I got some Scarab swaps, emblems, Bridgestones, upgrading Reliquary Scarabs and swapping them. Here are some upgraded essences, and here are all of the essences that I also swapped, the cheap ones for expensive one. This is some remaining stuff that I didn't use for the recipes. Most of the stuff that I got is in this corner. And I believe like 80% of this stuff came from the time I was doing free harvests. I mean free maps without any sextant, because again I would find more harvests during that time. And again on top of that I did get these crafts, so like 12 exalts from Reforged Keep suffixes if you're gonna sell them on TFT. Okay, so that's it. Now the most important part, which is comparing them. So which one was actually the best? So first let's look at the Shaper one. So Shaper, each one of these tests actually took a little bit less than an hour. It actually was like 45 to 55 minutes, but I decided to just round it up to 1 hour. So to be honest, it should actually be even better results. So for Shaper, Sextant, I had to buy 25 of them for 100 maps, 50C each, and maps, 100 maps for 7C each. So random maps, selling on TFT, 3C per, all of the Shaper maps, all of the remaining Guardian maps, and again this one was the unlucky one without the Cortex drop. Invitations, and each test did drop in the same amount of invitations, and you can sell them on TFT for 1.2x and small ones for I believe like 10C. So in total I made actually 14x, and again it took me only 1 hour. And trading for these Guardian maps, if you're gonna be selling them and actually buying the Sextant, is actually pretty fast. So 14x per hour, I definitely did not expect it. I thought it's gonna be maybe more around 10x per hour, but that's actually crazy good profit. But again, you still have to sell the Guardian map. But if you compare this test to any of the other tests that I was doing in the past, like selling all of the currencies, all of the bridgestones and so on, depending on the strategy, definitely takes much more time than just selling simply Guardian maps. That's it. You can just post it on TFT from time to time. Definitely much less trading time. Okay, now the Elder. So Elder, the same spending. You are actually also paying 50C for them. But in terms of loot, I actually got 15x per hour. So, and then mostly the difference is the additional Cortex that I did drop here. So to be honest, it's probably fairly similar. It should be 13x, but again, I think I also got a little bit unlucky here, because here I'm missing, as you can see, 6 maps, and here I'm missing just 1 map. So technically it should be the same amount. So yeah, it is very similar. Now Conqueror, so this one is the one that with the most amount of investment. Here I also included the increased price for the Crimson Temples. So here in total I made 3k for Elder maps. Here I also made a little bit more than 3k, but for Conquerors in total I made 6k. But as you can see, investment is definitely also much higher. So even though investment was much higher, I actually still made a little bit more than from the Elder and Shaper. But to be honest, the difference is not really that big, and I might have been just a little bit more lucky here. So to be honest, I actually would say all 3 of them are fairly similar in terms of the returns. And the only difference is for Conquerors, you're gonna be paying a little bit more. Maybe selling the Crimson Temples might take a little bit longer. I actually don't know how they sell. And the big plus for the Shaper ones is that you can horizon them. So if you're gonna be making the same amount of profit, Shaper is definitely the way to go. But now let's look at the one with no sextants. So with no sextant, as you can see, definitely much less money. But that's mostly because it took me 1.6 hours, because I was doing also harvest, like a lot of harvest. And harvest is, even though it doesn't take that much time, it's still definitely noticeable. If you wouldn't be doing harvest, and again, the profit from harvest is not included here, it would probably take me also a similar amount of time. The only difference might be like additional 10-15 minutes for the essences. So let's say it would take me also 1 hour. It would be 10x per hour, which, to be honest, if you don't have any money, if you just started doing red maps and you don't have money to spend on the sextants, you can still do this even without harvest, and you're gonna be making between 6 and 10x per hour. And once you make some decent amount of money, then you can start buying sextants and then making more. But in terms of what I would do if I would want to do this strategy in the long run, like if I plan to do this for like a few days, I would probably still buy every single one of them. I wouldn't really care about buying Shaper, Elder, and Conqueror. To be honest, profit should be very similar, and the fact that you can sell 3 different types of maps should increase the, I guess, reduce the amount of trading time. So you probably should also try to stick with going for 3 different ones if you can find them. Obviously, sometimes you might just find someone selling like 50 sextants for the Elder for cheap, so you would just buy a lot of them. Sometimes you might not see any Conquerors on the Discord or on the trade, depending where you are buying. So definitely all of them are very profitable, and even without sextants, still decently good strategy. So that's gonna be it in this video. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.